Hey guys, Kevin with On Point Pro Styles in Gainesville, Georgia. Back to another tutorial actually with our 28-inch Workhorse plotter from plotterdepot.com. So in our previous video, we put it together, we set it up. If you hadn't seen that video, definitely check that out. Next thing we need to do before we even hook it up to the computer, get tech support involved to get our software working with it, or any software we're going to be using with it, we need to set our blade. So we need to find the box, obviously, that our blades came in, our blade holder. We've even got a pen holder. That's for something we don't even do. But we've got our blade holder in here. We've got our 30-degree blades. 30 degrees is which we use for window tinting. I'm going to show you how to set the blade holder up, how to test it out on the machine. That all needs to be done before tech support can even get it hooked up with your computer. So let's get to it. Okay, so blade holder and one of our 30-degree blades. Take the blade holder out of the pack. Comes with a rubber ring. I don't particularly use those, so that can go away. Break loose your locking ring here, the gold one. Run this in just a little bit. Take off your rubber cover to expose the cutting end. Cutting end obviously goes to the outside. Drop it in the blade holder. Magnet catches it, and you can see it's sticking out pretty far. So we're going to turn this out to where we can barely see any tip on it at all, barely even feel it. It's barely scratching. So we need a scrap piece of tint. I dug in my trash can, found a scrap piece, and obviously we want to lay this down where the liner is to the table and the tint's facing up. You notice I'm on a wooden table. These cut on Teflon strips, so it's sort of a little bit of a softer surface, so I don't want to do this on anything hard. So we're going to take this and we're going to just basically using about writing pressure, and we're going to take it and grab it across the film. And we're looking for it to cut the film and barely, either barely cut through it or barely not cut through it. There's a sweet spot in between. So right now it's cutting through it fairly easy, so I'm going to back it out just a tiny bit. Doesn't take much. And you're just going to keep repeating that process till you feel like it barely cut through the film. I feel like that's my spot, so I'm gonna lock down that ring. You might adjust it again on the plotter, but we're gonna lock down that ring. We're gonna take it over to the machine, and I'm gonna show you how to do some test cuts to dial it in. All right, so we're back at the plotter. I've loaded up a 20-inch roll into the machine, film side up, liner side down. Now, as far as placement on the machine, it doesn't matter if it's all the way left, all the way right, in the middle. The biggest trick is, or the biggest key is, making sure that your pinch rollers cover as much of the film as possible, and you want them as close to the edge as possible as well. So there's a pinch roller here, here, and here, so that seemed like a good spot for the film. Now out of the box, this was set at 288 as a speed and 111 grams of force. I'm going to try to run this machine, if possible, between about 60 and 80, or as close to that as I can. So the way you're going to move the carriage head over so we can install the blade, or the blade holder, is you're going to push your on-off line button. You're going to use your force buttons left and right. You're going to bring the carriage over. We're going to make sure it's opened up enough for our blade holder to drop in. So I've locked this down. So we're going to drop our blade holder into its spot all the way down, and then we're going to turn the holder and snug it up fairly tight. Don't get crazy with it. It's plastic. You don't want to break it or over tighten. It doesn't take much to hold that thing into place. Now we want to set it up to where we can utilize as much of the film with the least amount of waste as possible. So we're going to use our speed to move the film forward and back. Run the film out about there, so maybe about an inch in front of the blade. And we're going to move the carriage over where the blade is about, I don't know, a little more than a quarter inch off the right side of the film. So we're going to hit our enter button to set that as now it's its origin. So anything we send to the machine is going to start and stop at this point and not move its way back to the beginning. So now that we're set, I'm going to run my speed down. Using these things in the past, 228 seems to be a comfortable number for me. And then our force, I don't want to run it at 111. It obviously has the capability of doing that, and with different film lines, you'll notice that one film, like a ceramic, might be a little thicker, and you'll have to put a little more pressure down on it. So I want to keep the pressure a little bit lower for my standard stuff that I run all the time. So I'm going to bring my force down. I'm going to start around 60 and just see how close we are. All right, so we're at 60 grams. I'm going to hit enter, and I'm going to push this test button right here. That seemed a little heavy. It started filling the film up. Plus, there's a pinch roller here, so it's pulling the film in. But let's just check, see what it did. It cut through the film and the liner, so actually 60 is a little heavy, which is good. Less pressure is fine by me. So move the film. I'm gonna move the carriage over, past where we just cut, try to reset the film close to about where it was to begin with. Again, less waste. So push the enter button. Now it's gonna stop here. So I'm gonna bring my force down. That cut pretty well clean through. So let's start around 48. Hit the test button. Hit our on-off line. The speed down button to draw some film out. Oh, that was nice. I mean, that's probably our spot right there, right off the rip. So sometimes you get lucky and you get it in 2 tries. Sometimes it takes you all the way across 10 tries, and then you got to do 10 more tries. But the trick is dial that blade in just right. If you need to, take it back out of the carriage, move it just a tiny bit, hammer it back down, put it back in. So you might have to play with it a couple times. This isn't my first time setting one up, so this was, I don't know, maybe not luck. But anyway, so let's move it back. And I'm gonna just do another couple of cuts for good measure. Move it over past our last cut. We're gonna push enter. 48, that's where I was before. We're gonna do another test. I'm gonna hit our on-off line button. Speed down, draw out some film. Oh, another thing, yeah, is like sometimes based on where it's cutting, it can be tough to grab the film. It's because you got to get it to break. And that's still tearing away just perfect. Actually a little less right there, so I'm going to actually bring the force up just a little bit. That's why we do multiple cuts. So we're going to move it back up. We're going to move past our last cut. Just past, doesn't have to be more than about 1/4 of an inch. And we're going to go from 48 grams, we're going to take it up to 51 grams. Hit test. On-off line, run some film out. That was a great one. Liner's still intact, didn't cut through, and I was able to pull the tin away clean. So we'll reset it back up, move just past our last cut. I'm actually gonna take it up another notch. 54 grams. Enter, test. On, off. Don't want it in there. Right there, it cut the liner, so I think I was right where I needed to be with the 51. So I'm gonna move it back just past our last cut, enter. I'm gonna take it back down to 51, enter, test cut. Run some film out. So for me, in my situation, in my case, this is not gonna be the same settings for everyone else. This is how you're gonna dial your machine in. Mine's gonna be running at the 51 grams. I'm comfortable with the 228 speed. It cuts out 2 front doors in about 50 seconds at 228. So to me, that's plenty fast enough without having to worry about it running off or me having to really babysit it too much. But my blade holder, my blade at a 30-degree blade on my standard dyed film, which is from tintdepot.com Superior Charcoal, is gonna run 51 grams comfortably. Now I'm very happy with that. Hopefully yours goes just as smooth, but that's how you dial that in. Okay guys, so the end result here, we were able to dial it in, get our blade set, our blade holder set fairly quickly, and hopefully it's about that quick for you. Didn't waste much film here, less than 4 inches worth of film. That's what you want. You don't want to go through, you know, feet and feet and feet of film. This is the right way to do it. This should be done before tech support ever comes in and sets your machine up. They're going to want to do a test cut or more. So it cutting properly on your particular media, your film, is just going to make for a successful setup and get you working a lot quicker. So any questions, definitely reach out, let us know. Again, this is the Workhorse 28-inch from plotterdepot.com. The film that I use, my go-to, as you see on my rack behind me, is Tint Depot Superior Charcoal. That's my premium dyed line, and I also use their Ceramic Extreme. So guys, if we can help, let me know. Otherwise, good luck. Thanks for watching.